Welcome viewers. Today's video is the third part of the topic on how to manage and administer RMAN backups using Oracle Enterprise Manager. In the first part, we learned how to configure RMAN backup settings, configure backup policies, and schedule a backup job in OEM. In the second part, we learned how to check restorability of RMAN backups and schedule a restore preview job in OEM. In the part 3, we are going to learn how to use BIP reports that comes free with OEM, create a report on RMAN backup status, and create a report on RMAN restore validation using BI publisher reports, or shortly BIP reports. If you have not watched the first two parts of this series yet, please watch them first to have a better understanding of the topic as well as what I am demonstrating in today's video. There are a few prerequisites and you must understand those first before continuing with this video. The BI publisher report has more advanced features than the information publisher report that was included with the older versions of OEM. Information publisher report is still available, but Oracle is going to retire it very soon. Please note, you do not need to have a separate license from Oracle for using BIP reports, as it comes for free with OEM. So first, let's take a look into the BI publisher report or BIP reports. Please also note that this video is not for giving you a very in-depth knowledge on BIP reports. This is a very easy to learn reporting application, and if you want, you can explore this yourself. In this video, I will create simple reports to show how this tool or the application works and how you can use it to create useful reports for DBAs and more. I will log off from the BIP report console and show you how to access this application from OEM. Step number 1. How to access BIP reports. There are 3 ways to access the BIP reports. First, when you are logged into OEM console, from there you can go to Enterprise menu, Reports, then BI Publisher Enterprise Reports. Then this page will show you some of the reports which have been already created by default. You can click on any of the reports here, which will take you to the BIP report console. Another way to access the BIP report is to click on the BI publisher link here at the top left corner. From here also you can access the BIP report console. If for some reason you are not able to access the BIP report console from using the first 2 options that I have shown, the another available option to access the BIP report console is to go to the OMS server, the host that is hosting the OMS, and use the command emctl status OMS details. This will ask for the sysman password. And in the output, you'll be able to see the BI Publisher console access link here. BI Publisher server named BIP running at this URL. And you can simply copy this and paste it in your browser to access the BIP report console. In the login page for the BIP report console, you can use any admin user that belongs to your OEM, or you can use sysman user. I'm using sysman user here. Step number 2. Create a data source and connection. Once you log into the BIP report console, go to the administration link at the top right corner, then click on JDBC connection. Then click on the Add Data Source button. And there you have to specify your connection properties. say catDB is the name of the connection because it's connecting to a database named catDB, and the database driver class, it's by default it's selecting Oracle JDBC driver. The connection string has a specified format, and you have to put the information as per that format. First the host name, port, and the SID. Username will be system in my case, and the password, and you test the connection, and the connection has been successfully tested. Because I have already applied these settings and created one data source named catDB, I'll simply cancel this. This catDB data source is already there. Please note that we have used OEM to run RMAN backups and restore validation jobs against target databases, so the status of the jobs have been recorded in some internal tables in the OEM repository database. In your environment, if the backups are not run using OEM, then you have to implement a workaround to bring that information to a central database from where BIP report can access that and use the central database as your data source. It can be your RMAN catalog database also. In our case, the status is already available in the OEM repository database. All we need to do is to query the right table or view in the repository database. I have given the SQL queries used in this demo in the description of this video below so that you can use it if you want to. Now once you configure your data source with the JDBC connection, there are a couple of things that you have to configure before you start creating your reports and delivering. Those options are under this delivery section. First one, delivery configuration. Here, the most important thing that you have to put here is the email from address. Say this will be the default address that will be shown in the reports that you are going to distribute as email, so that the receiver will see from this email address it's coming. You can put something like, say, BIP report at myorg.com, and the delivery notification email from address will be the same. And there are a couple of other options here like success notification subject, warning notification subject, failure notification subject, and skipped notification subject. You can specify the subject lines if you want here. For example, if the report has been successfully created, you will get a notification with this subject line. If the report failed for some reason, say the SQL query was failed to extract the data because the database itself was down, in that case you will get a notification either as a failure notification or warning notification. What will be the subject line of those notifications that you can specify here. So for now we have this information. Click apply. Then the next important thing that you need to mention here is the email server. The server name will be some alias for you to understand from where which server is getting configured here. Say BIP report server. You can put any name here, but you have to specify the SMTP server here, the host, and the port that you can get from your messaging team or network team in your organization, and then click apply. Step number 3, create a data model for the report. To do that, click on new data model. The data model has multiple properties here, but we are mainly interested in the data sets property of this data model. We'll click on SQL query, and the name will be, say, backup status, And the data source by default is selecting the CatDB. That is the only data source we have. Type of the SQL will be standard SQL statement. And here you have to write down the SQL statement that is going to pull the data for you to be displayed in your report. For our demonstration purpose, I have already created one SQL query and I have tested it in Toad. So this is the query we are going to use for our backup status. Let's validate the output for one last time. It will display the target name, status, start time, end time of the backup, and the output. This is an optional column, and this is going to be very big for some of the databases, and you may not include it in your report. Just for the purpose of completion, I am showing this column in the output. Let's copy this and put it in our data model, and then click OK. And our data set is created. Next, to display the data and to see how it looks like. By default, it will be displayed in a tree view. Click on table view, and this is what the data is: target name, status, start time, end time, output. Now we have to save this data model, which will be used in our report. Click the save button. And if you are going to share your work with other team members, then you should save your files under the shared folders. Under the shared folders, I'm going to create a new folder for our BIP reports, team reports. Under the team reports folder, I will save my data model as backup status and save it. Please remember, this is not the report. This is the data that is going to be used to create the report. You have to save this data as sample data, which will be used to design your report. Save as sample data, click OK. Then we'll save it again so that the sample data has been saved with the data model itself. Now I'm going to create a report using this data model. Click on Create Report button. We will not use the guided process, rather we'll use the report editor to design our first report. And the use data model option is selected by default, because we are coming from the data model page itself to design the report based on that particular data model. Now click Finish. We need to save the report with some name. The backup status report. Now this backup status report, how does it look like? We have to define the designs. First, take any of the templates here. You can take basic templates, shared templates, etc. So let's use one template with a table. Click this one. And your report title, which you can specify. Center align. You can put a title to the table also. In my case, I'll put, say, backup data. And we can drag and drop the fields that we want to display in our report. First, the target name, start time of the backup job, end time of the backup job, and the status. I'm not including the output here because that is going to create a very big report with all the RMAN command output, the backup command output here, which we do not want to be displayed here. So this is the report, the basic layout of the report, and we'll save it again. Say layout 1. Save it and click done. Now our very first report with a very basic layout has been saved, and once it is saved, you will be able to find your reports and data models under this catalog menu. Click catalog and you will be able to see the objects like the data models and the reports that you have created under the themes report folder because you have saved it under that folder. Now to schedule this report so that it runs in a specific time every morning or every evening to your team, all you need to do is to schedule it through its inbuilt scheduler. So select the report, click on schedule, and you have different scheduling options here. The output, click make the output public checkbox here. You do not need to save the data for republishing, and you have to specify the format here, whether it's going to be HTML or PDF or RTF or an Excel format, etc. So the HTML format is the best one. Let's select this one, and now let's go to the schedule tab. You can specify the frequency here, whether it's going to be run for only one time or it's going to be running hourly, daily, weekly, monthly, etc. If it's running daily, then at what time, at what interval it will run. Say every 1 day, and by default it's taking today's date, and you can specify, say every morning starting tomorrow, it will run, say from 24th June onwards, it will run at 11:30 a.m. in the morning. And you must also pay attention to the time zone that is selected. So here we have selected the Eastern time. Click OK, and the end time, when you want the report job to be stopped. Ideally, you will never want your reporting job to be stopped. So let's specify something which is very far from now, say 10 years from now, and let's select it, date there, click OK. So starting tomorrow, it will continue to run for the next 10 years every day, and there's a notifications tab there. So let's not configure anything as of now and click submit. It will ask for a job name. Let's give it a meaningful name, say daily backup status report, and your job has been saved. Now we'll create another report for restore validation, and to do that, first we have to create the data model, then the report, and then we have to schedule it the same way as we have done for the backup status report. To do that, let's again go to the menu New, Data Model, same, the properties data sets, click on SQL query, and the name of the data set will be, say, restore validation this time. and I have already created the SQL query that will be used for the restore validation. I have mentioned both these queries in the description of this video below so that you can use it if you want to create similar reports in your database environment. Let's test the output here, and this is how it will look like. Please note that both the queries I have designed so that it will always give you the latest status of the job. If the job has run yesterday and after that it has not run, then you will get the status of the jobs that has run only yesterday, not before that. Let's copy this query and paste it here in BIP report. Click OK, and our data set is created. There is a structure tab where you can define different names for your fields if you want. Usually you do not do that. Now let's go to the data tab. Click on view, and by default it's giving us a tree view of the data. We want to see it in a tabular view, and this is what the data available for us to be displayed in the report. Now we'll save the sample data with the data model, then we'll save the data model itself in our theme reports folder, and the name of the data model will be restore validation. And then we'll use this data model to create our second report on restore validation. Do that. We can create a report using the create report button when we are already in the restore validation data model here, or I will show you another alternate way to create the report. To do that, you can simply go to new report. It will ask you what type of report you are going to create and what will be the source of the data. In our case, we are going to use our data model, so by default it's selected here, use data model. Then which data model we are going to use, that is the restore validation. Click open. We will not use the guided process, we'll use the use report editor option. Click finish. Now we need to save the report with a name, and we'll give the name as restore validation report. Click save. Similarly, we will use a tabular template. Report title will be restore validation, center align. There are a lot of formatting options here, and you can design your report as per your own design specifications or guidelines of your company, or the way you like. Table title will be restore review data, and then we'll drag and drop the fields that we want to display in our report. Say the target name, start time of the job, end time of the job, status. If everything looks good, we'll simply save it. The layout will be saved as, say, layout 1. Click save and done. Now we are going to schedule it. Let's go to catalog. Let's take the restore validation report and go to schedule. the output, here you will be able to see the email option. You select email, then you can click on the add destination button, and the options for you to deliver your report will be available here. Say you want to send this report to a distribution list, or your own email ID, or your manager's email ID, something like that, that you have to specify here. Say I am specifying my own email ID. You can do a CC there. Then a subject line will be backup. Sorry, it will be restore validation report. So we have not specified any schedule here. Say we want to run it once, and the notification, because we have already configured some of the options there in the notifications section. You can get notification when the report is completed, or report completed with warning, report failed, or report skipped, for these options. For now, I am not checking any of these options here. Now you can click submit with a name. Because we have specified some fake SMTP server, this report is not going to be successfully executed. And we'll be able to see that there is a problem here. So it was not able to send that report because our SMTP server was not actually a server. If in your case you have the proper SMTP server and the port, you can specify there, so that your report will be delivered to your intended recipients as emails as per the schedule. You can still take a look into your report, how it will look like. If you go to the homepage of BI Publisher, you have all the objects recently you have used, like restore validation report, your backup status report. If you click open, it will be shown as in the format that you have specified. For example, this is how it will look like when it will be delivered as a email. Similarly, you can go to your restore validation report, click open. You'll be able to see the status. So we have 3 databases. For the first 2, the restore validation was succeeded. For one of the databases, the restore validation was failed. And you can find out the reason behind its failure, and you can troubleshoot and fix that issue so that your restore validation will be successfully run the next time. So DBAs, I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you liked my video and found it useful, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel so you won't miss similar videos that I am uploading every week for the Oracle DBAs.